Peace, this is Star with the Star Blooms. I wanted to go deeper into spiritual GPS and knowing your own technology. I've been coming into contact with a lot of kids while basically being out with my daughter and going to certain events and going to certain events and I've been basically having conversations with parents, and I know that I didn't know a lot of these things before because I just wasn't at a rate to where I was sleeping. Let's just say that, bless you. I was sleeping. So because I didn't have this understanding and I didn't look at the world in this way, my eyes basically wasn't attuned to basically pick up on certain things. Now when I deal with kids, I see so many markers, so many I don't know why I was going to say potentialities. Like, I see how if they knew that they were wielding certain elements, how they would be empowered. I see how if they basically embodied their mastery and they were basically taught that they were mastering something, how they would basically be saturated in a place where they could thirst no more. I recognize how a lot of the times we don't allow ourselves to be in alignment with the truth of ourselves because we aren't in awareness of what it is that we have due to certain protocols that have been set up to shut down proper processing and systems that are self-regulated, especially internally, because it is a technology that we are. And we don't align to these truths because they seem so much bigger than what we've allowed ourselves to previously perceive ourselves at. But we're beyond that rate. And our kids are magnificent beings that come in at a rate where they are already specializing in their specialty. We just have to be still enough, sensitive enough to be able to actually sense what it is that they are showing us so we could have the proper sight in seeing what is actually being displayed in front. When I'm aware of these spaces, I recognize that I just move in it. I know that it's not something that I just do it. Whatever it is, I just do it. Whatever I feel called to, I just show up in it. And a lot of people fear being this gentle because they fear that they may do the wrong thing. And it's because they have steps to take in order for them to basically trust where they are within themselves. I basically was having this it was a beautiful conversation. One was a part of recognizing how angered and frustrated and irritated the kids were. And I seen that they weren't frustrated and angered and irritated. I seen that they were basically receiving because they are receivers. I seen that they are energetically being tapped into because they are energy. And I seen that if we created these filters to basically place these children in a rate to where they didn't have to constantly be bombarded with this energy coming in and overflowing their system, and they had awareness that they could use and wield their power, that they would be able to be at this rate to where they could actually move the energy instead of being moved by it. And I recognize that in order for us to be at a rate to have a conversation, that we would have to gain the awareness. So it starts with the parent first. And even not just necessarily the parent being the teacher, but the parent being comfortable sitting at the feet of their kids to be taught by asking them what it is that they know, because your kids know way more than what you allow them to. For example, my daughter, she's 6. However, the parents that I was speaking to, their kids were way older than my child. And they couldn't understand how it was that she was at this rate and how she felt so free and vocal, right? Because that's the thing. A lot of the kids, they aren't really talking as much for real. There's so much stuff being put inside of our babies that is starting to cut off and shut down certain things. And we could easily say, take them 413, thank you, Spirit. We could easily say, take them off of social media, remove the technology. But I believe in a world of AI and all of the things that are being put in, exposure and the releases of information, that we need to be in a space to where we're creating an environment that's safe enough for these kids to take the technology that's available for them to basically be able to build upon that, because they are the computers that will create the computers of the new centuries to come. Yeah, these kids are storm tamers. They literally are the cultivators that are curating the chaos that we live in. However, They are being taught how to survive the storm instead of how to rule in these spaces, because people do not want to allow kids to live in a rate of inner authority because they fear the loss of control. Be in a space to where you get aware of what it is that you have innately within you. And that's what I was saying about the spiritual GPS. There are certain things that you could do in attunement when you are working with all four elements, that be water, that be earth, that be air, that be fire. Recognizing how sometimes the opposites won't balance out each other. So you can't just have water and fire and not have air and earth, because they are needed in order to basically cultivate, ether, to cultivate this space of mastery, which is what you are when you recognize that you are spiritual. However, a lot of us 550, a lot of us, I was going to say 551, but I seen it 550. A lot of us don't want to look at ourselves in a certain rate because we don't want to deal with all of the things, that come with certain rates of awareness. But you get to live in it because your kids get to benefit from your rates of understanding. And the more you perceive in these perceptions, you get to actually build in the spaces that have been placed within you, for you, around you, for you to actually cultivate with. Our kids they are the generator, operator, destroyers, depending on whatever rate that they're coming in at. They just need the right tools within themselves. They need to be able to have the right environments that are safe enough for them to basically implode whatever it is that they have that's actually either coming at them or that needs to come out of them. And we get to be these safe bunkers that house these giants, that allow them to basically be able to grow and cultivate. Even if it's destruction that needs to come upon a system, allow them to be at this rate to where they get to do that as it is just. They are created for a reason. They aren't born. And when we recognize that that's what we have the ability to be at this rate to where we seed the star seeds, to where we nurture the earth angels, to where we are, we're the allies, and we be a food, for something that they want us to starve. We be a food for something that they want, we be nourishment for something that they don't want us to replenish. We be, essence for something that they want us to act as if it's meek and not as powerful and not as strong as it actually is. All right. We don't have to be at this constant rate of having hierarchy over, one or the other's powers. We get to be at this rate to where we recognize the opportunities in transformation while transforming. Me and my baby we've been feet at this. Even when she was an infant, I was in this space with her. And I've always held her at a certain rate, not because I had awareness, but because it's just where I felt guided to. My soul's compass, I felt being to this rate. I'm going to handle it this way. I've had to fight, through all of the processes. I've had to fight against systems, fight against family, at the time, fight against an ex-spouse, wanting to basically have the opportunity to do as I chose because I felt like it was what was right. And just now, as my baby's about to turn 7, I'm starting to get the rate of proof. So it's like sometimes you got to even be comfortable of going through these routes of actually empowering, on your own, and recognize that it will come back around to you for you to be at this rate of, this is what this was for. This is how this was meant, Your kid has the ability and has the mastery within themselves. They just have to have the environment, the space, the proper intellect, the verbiage sometimes to be able to magnify in places to where you might want to like stuff it out or snuff it out like it's smoke. You might want to quiet it down because it challenges you as a parent. We get to be at these rates to where we blow the flame. We have the potential, ideas, and we see what'll happen, because I believe that that's what true scientists are supposed to do. And these kids they are scientists. They're geniuses. They're so powerful. They're not just these sad, angry spaces. They are put in positions to where they aren't fully represented. Okay. Learn your technology so you can help your kid learn theirs, so you don't have to keep them from technology. They get to be the masters in it, as they are the master technology that hasn't been recreated. All right. Everything is coming from them. Everything is coming from us. So if you recognize that and you get into the pieces and the parts, you could make